Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Bitcoin, obviously kind of understand what's going on here for today. I know we've been looking at it a lot recently, and the whole purpose is to kind of keep you abreast on what's going on. And if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. I love teaching people how to trade, and I have a trading community designed with that specific purpose in place. Also have a trading academy I'm rolling out with month end here, of course. That's going to be an awesome situation where I take you from point A to point B, from beginner to intermediate, potentially even advanced user. And we'll go ahead and cover that again later. Go ahead and message me directly if you have any questions at CryptoCache Tech through Telegram if you're interested. Now, looking here at, of course, Bitcoin, we'll go ahead and start with our 1 week and work our way down. I just want to highlight a couple of things here. Of course, we got a strong, basically strong support level here. And I say strong just because it's mostly tentative. It's only been tested once, but twice in the past. And of course, it was a previous resistance as well. So 40,500 is working tentatively as a support level. And then, of course, we've got right around 37,500, right? So just say 37.5 is a pretty close approximate to the next available support level, according to the Fibonacci retracement levels, but also previous support levels as well, okay? But all in all, on the 1 week chart here, we got some interesting stuff here. We're down below the simple moving average 50 on the 1 week chart, which I feel is, well, I wouldn't say it's negative, but it's definitely not positive, right? we need to be back above that if possible to continue that continuation to the upside. Now, that doesn't imply that we're bearish per se, but it does kind of, I guess it does kind of tell us that we're a little bit more on the downslope than we are the upside. I'm still bullish on Bitcoin in the long run. No longer six figures. I don't think we're going to have that blow off top that we were expecting, but I do think that we're going to see recovery here in the near future once all this CME data kind of comes to fruition. So with all this inflation stuff going on in the United States, that's causing a big ripple and a big potential issue, so to speak, with Bitcoin for the moment. So I do think January may likely end up being a red month, and we'll see probably a green recovery in the month of February. It's just my speculation, but it's kind of shaping up to be like that. Because again, the 4-year cycle didn't expect to see a COVID-19, or nor did it expect to see a lot of crazy inflation stuff go on in the United States, right? So just got to understand that that's factoring in. All right, anyways, enough about that. Looking at the 1 day chart, we can see, of course, kind of these support levels coming here. We can also see that the price is trying to test that level of 42,200. So 42.2 is turning out to be kind of a tough resistance. And my speculation is the price will probably continue to, bounce up above and below this level, between 40,500 and 42,200 as a rough estimate over the next few days, possibly over the next week or two, depending on how things go. Again, we're really interested to see what happens on Wednesday with that, CME data on, of course, the 12th. So just pay attention, see what happens there. But between now and then, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're going to see, just kind of the price stay in this range. If it does break 42.2, bear in mind we got to right around 43,000 as a major Fibonacci retracement level that could essentially work as a resistance. It hasn't really truly been tested yet, but I think that in most cases is going to hold strong in that sense because, we got this little range here, this $2,500 range, where we could expect the price to kind of bounce for a little while. So I wouldn't expect dramatic things. We shouldn't expect a price to just hike up in the near future. I think we got a lot of stuff, a lot of road to cover first before we get there. So let's just be realistic in the sense that all we need is some sideways action from Bitcoin. Let that fear, uncertainty, and doubt subside, and then we can get some push to the upside. Again, likely in the month of February. But a lot of altcoins, specifically the ones actually I've noticed that I pointed out yesterday in my top 5 picks, they're doing very well. There's a handful of others that are going to come back into the fold, but generally speaking, big picture, we're going to start seeing little coins here and there start to emerge as Bitcoin continues to go sideways. Okay, we saw it previously as well in this time frame here, that 1 month time frame. It was pretty dramatic at first with these major sell-offs and increases, but once we started to see higher highs and higher lows from Bitcoin, there was an amazing improvement in the market. And that's all we need to see here soon too, but the likelihood of that happening is very low, just based on the fact we had a pretty strong sell-off. Again, that was over 15% in just 2 trading days. That is a lot of downward momentum for Bitcoin, and that strikes fear into the hearts of many, right? And right now with Bitcoin dominance still trending right around 40%, we haven't had that major amount of money coming away from Bitcoin to altcoins yet. I think a lot of folks are getting smart right now. They're starting to bring more money into the market, and that's a good thing. Especially with taxes coming up here soon, when people file their tax returns, that stimulus, so to speak, will cause people to be able to increase and invest that money into altcoins. It's another reason why I think February, March, and April are going to be green months. Commonly, we see that. We saw that last year as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. There's some little things can kind of factor in outside of the charts, but generally speaking here, we got this little channel between 40,500 and 43,000. Okay. Moving on to the 4 hour, let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, wait, one last thing before we address that here. Just to note, of course, this is kind of obvious, and this may actually almost happen exactly when the 12th of January occurs. I mean, if you look at that, right at this point, January 13th, January 12th, right here. So when we see this death cross essentially cross, we could essentially have that exact same time frame. Now, notoriously, it's done, it's done a lot of different things, but if we kind of take a look here in the past, we can see this death cross here, which coincidentally is right around the halfway point of this downtrend from Bitcoin. Okay, so if we look at this downtrend, remember May 19th, of course, that was really, really a rough day for the market, and we had this sideways action here. And if you keep in mind too, we're right about this point right now with our current trend, because it's kind of interesting in the way that you kind of see how that little downtrend happens. We're right there, right? So if we take a look at both of those two scenarios, kind of just put them side by side, we're about that halfway point. And what that basically just means, we should expect something along this lines here to happen right around here. Okay, so that's why I think we're probably going to be about a month out for February being likely an increase. We could see something very similar in February as far as just that push up to the upside. But that's another reason why I think we might even see a leg down to 37,000, just based on the simple fact that this previous pattern did decrease again a second time after that first initial decrease. So again, just some things to kind of pay attention to. But what I'm getting at is this death cross here push the price action down, which we could see here in the next few days. And if it were to come back down, then we'll see the price kind of trend in this area here and then leg back up. Okay, right, somewhere in the range of February or possibly even March, but I still speculate February is going to be a good month. Again, we just got to get some of this stuff behind us, and then we can kind of move on, if that makes any sense. Okay, so pending no crazy world events, I think we're going to see an increase here in February, but leading into that, just note that this death cross is coming to fruition, so to speak, and when it does, it could push the price action down like it did previously, or perhaps the price is already down far enough where it may not go any lower. There's that as well, okay? So we got to understand that there's different sentiments, different things, but for the most part, when these two lines intersect in a downward fashion, it traditionally implies that we're going to see the price action decrease, not increase. Looking at the 4 hour, we can see obviously the moving averages are working their way down. Hopefully the 50 can work its way, into the fray, and maybe the price can, come up above, so to speak. That'll be a much better scenario for me. I'm going to feel much more comfortable with the price back up above the 50-day simple moving average. Right now, though, it's just holding down as a strong, strong resistance. Moving on to as well, we can kind of look at the RSI is still low. So even though we did get that bounce off of 30 essentially recently, it's still testing that major resistance level. And if you look at the RSI 50, we can see that's probably pretty concurrent with 43,000. So if the price were to break this 42.2, just note that 43,000 could very well hold the price action down still based on that sentiment there and the fact that we've been under 50 on the RSI for quite some time. In fact, the last time we were above 50 on the RSI was with that last push when we had those higher highs and those higher lows from Bitcoin. Ever since we broke that pattern, we broke below the 50. Interestingly enough, we've been underneath 50 on the RSI the entire time. So not great in that sense, but also, of course, standard par for the course, I guess you could say here in this scenario. Nothing to be surprised about. Just know that this resistance level here has been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 7 times now. And that being said, we could see a break to the upside to break 42.2. So I just want to kind of urge some caution here. If you see the price break over 42,200, don't go crazy. Don't start getting in, and don't start thinking that we're in the clear again. Okay, there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of things we need to kind of understand and realize that we've got some major resistances, specifically the 50-day simple moving average, and of course 43,000. Okay. So again, feel free to feel better about yourself if Bitcoin breaks above 42.2, but do not by any means just go all in and start kind of thinking like we're in the clear again. That's probably going to be a false scenario where the price will come up, likely break and reject off of 43 and come crashing back down. I kind of foresee that happening. I see another dead cat in the immediate future. I don't know why. I hope we don't see it, but it just kind of feels like it's preparing for that, right? So if it comes up, it'll be kind of more of a false positive. It's going to be great in the sense that it'll probably pump up some of the altcoins. And if that is the case, feel free to consider adding to your position, but make sure you also take some profits too. And I would recommend, don't get greedy at all in this market right now. A lot of coins that are taking off, which there's very few, are getting stunted out. They have very large candle wicks. And when you see very large wick up and a wick down, it basically implies there's a lot of movement in that short amount of time. Therefore, they're knee-jerk reactions, for lack of better terms, when Bitcoin is responding, okay? Or their responses to Bitcoin's, movements with exponential, ups and downs. Because keep in mind, most altcoins right now are about 2 to 3x minimum. I think even some of the good ones are only 1.5x, but that's still a lot of movement when you think about it, because a 5% increase or decrease from Bitcoin, that's 10 to 15%. That'll get you wrecked if you're not careful, or put you in a position where you have to hodl when you don't need to, right? So just something to think about. All right, so one hour chart, let's go see if there's any kind of benefit here, of course. I'm curious about the cloud and if we've had any improvement. Look at that baseline, it's pretty much just straight out. The lagging span is back above the price action. The price is barely above the cloud right now. So traditionally speaking, you could say that this is technically a buy signal. Again, I want to urge caution here, okay? If you're going to take a buy signal into a major resistance level, you want to wait for confirmation, okay? Price needs to be above that resistance level for us to have any confirmation. Because keep in mind that resistance level is almost concurrent with the Ichimoku cloud outline itself. So what that basically just means is if we see this right here, that's working as a resistance too, okay? So until the price can stay above the actual cloud itself, it's going to continue to work as a resistance. You can see it's worked like that the entire time, albeit most likely this is the resistance level holding the price action down, but that's concurrent with the cloud too. That's why the cloud is very helpful. It gives us an idea of where we're at with support and resistance levels, but even though we have a buy signal on the cloud, we need further confirmation, so I'd wait for the price to close above that resistance level of 42,200 before even considering. Also bear in mind too, with 43,000 here and the 50-day set moving average working its way down on the 4-hour chart, we have a strong tendency of seeing some rejection and some resistances here soon if the price were to break above. So just say, for example, the price works its way up here, consolidates here, you consider taking entry. Do not, by any means, think that we're in the clear because of the sense that, the price comes up and starts making its way up here. Because you keep in mind that 4-hour 50-day simple moving average is working its way down. We're going to see a lot of resistance here in the next 24 to 48 hours at 43. And again, that's if the price even comes up that high. We're not there yet. So again, you'll learn this in my trading academy, which I'm going to have that rolled out by month end. You actually need to wait for confirmation. There's different stages. There's 3 stages to any type of confirmation. It's usually the decline, the consolidation, and the increase. You want to wait because you have much higher success rate in the increase. And we're not there yet. We have to have confirmation, and confirmation comes from a lot of myriad of factors. For one, confirmation, you want to get a major time frame candlestick to close above a certain resistance level. So we need to get that 1-day candlestick to close above 42.2 to have any confidence. That's step number 1. So if the 1-hour chart tells us that we're up above a resistance level, that doesn't matter that much. Since again, it's only a 1-hour time frame. It's not a full 24-hour average, if you will, right? That's why larger time frames create stronger support and resistance levels. We need to respect that here. Right now, we can see us getting rejected, and it's not confirmation that we're looking for, and we need that to have any type of confidence to move forward. Once again, there's a lot of other stuff looming as well. So just know, if you were to consider taking entry, say we get that confirmation over 42.2, just bear in mind there's tremendous amount of resistance that are forming on these other chart timeframes, which is why we always want to look at different timeframes, right? Because a 50-day SMA is a huge indicator you must pay attention to. And that is working its way down. So I just see a lot of resistance coming through in the next few days, specifically, of course, with the news, potential death cross, 4-hour 50-day SMA. Like there's a handful of reasons not to take a position to the upside, specifically with Bitcoin. Now, the same thing almost follows true with other coins too right now, right? Because most of them are synonymous with Bitcoin. There's very few that are moving free and clear. Now, I did highlight again some of those ones that are moving free and clear with my top 5 video. Make sure to check that out. I put that out yesterday. And what that basically does is just tells us that, hey, these ones are moving either concurrent or outside of Bitcoin's movement. Because if you have a coin that's actually moving specifically with Bitcoin, like really, you're stacking the odds against you if you're trying to take a long position to the upside when Bitcoin's only going to get rejected anyways, right? Now, again, there's no guarantees. Bitcoin could fly to the moon tomorrow. We don't truly know that, but there's no reason for it to do that. The technical analysis tells us there's no reason. It's complete bearish sentiment, and there's no. It would just be, it'd be crazy to do that, right? So just exercise caution. Let these things help you make more informed decisions, right? Because there's no doubt that you can't predict the future, but you can essentially increase your odds of success by understanding the technical data, right? And most of these things just sway things in your favor. There's no 100% guarantee. So I can tell you right now, I see little to no reason to take a consideration of a position, especially with that 42.2 being so strong as a resistance, and the likelihood of the price breaking down lower is much higher, okay? Again, these moving averages are going to keep pushing the price action down until it can create a nice strong foundation of volume. We don't have a lot of volume accumulation here. I mean, you take a look at this volume profile. Yes, we're getting some right around 41,800, but down here close to 40,000, 40,500, there's very, very little volume. And in fact, if we even zoom out further, you'll be able to see that even taking into consideration this previous time frames, most of the volume is accumulated down at 35 to 37. We literally have this open space here between 40,500 and 37.5. Okay, so that's a nice little $3,000, or what is that? Yeah, it's like it's not very much room, right? There's not a lot of stuff there, not a lot of the time. The price isn't spent much time in between that range. It's always jumped up or jumped down from there. So just know there's not a lot of foundation there, and that's going to factor in as well. All right, so hopefully you were able to disseminate some positive information here, at least some useful information. If so, go ahead and comment below. Let me know if you found benefit. Love to hear from you. If you're not currently a member, please consider subscribing, of course. It really helps you, for the most part, become a better trader, right? And I can guarantee as soon as you become a member, you'll realize that everyone else is very happy and retention is very high, and we're all becoming better traders together, learning and growing. It's an amazing experience. But yeah, I am rolling out with the Trading Academy month end, also working with a web developer, getting a website up and running. So we have a robust membership platform, as well as a good place where you can extract market data too. So trying to make sure it's kind of a one-stop shop for you, as well as these videos as well. Okay, so just hopefully you found benefit again. Thanks again for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you next video. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.